And we're live. Welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour for, wow, I almost said March. It's April already, guys. April
and going
7th,
quickly.
Very quickly, 2017. My name is Josh Nerius. I'm a developer evangelist here at ServiceNow. Go to developer.servicenow.com for documentation and free instances and all sorts of good stuff. With me today are, well, one of you guys has to decide which to go first.
Chuck,
you go first. Oh, okay.
Go for it, Chuck.
Let's go alphabetically.
Hi, I'm Chuck Tomasi, platform architect with ServiceNow. Been here since about 2010. Was a customer for a couple of years before that. Currently working as a platform architect in the platform practice team and hanging out with these two cool guys.
I am Dave Slusher. I'm developer evangelist. I work with Josh in the developer program. As he said, developer.servicenow.com. We've all been neck deep in getting ready for CreatorCon and Knowledge 17. I spent all day working with the repos for my lab, and boy, are my arms tired. So even though this is a little early, I'm actually the reason why this show is a little bit earlier, because if you guys can see the gear I'm wearing, but Louisiana Lafayette is in town to play Coastal Carolina, so I've got a baseball game to get to.
It's all your fault.
Even got the one little doodad I bought in India is I bought this fleur-de-lis necklace in India because it looks kind of like the New Orleans Saints and Lafayette.
Nice. Well, so the good thing about having to go earlier is it means that we get to drink beer earlier, which, you know, with everything going on right now, is actually very good. So that makes
for me this is live coding happy lunch.
Perfect.
I've got a fine Sweetwater hash session IPA. I bought a mixed one of those 12 packs. It's got a bunch of different beers in it from Sweetwater. So I don't even think I've had this one yet. So
never heard of it. I'd be interested to see what you say. Josh, what do you got?
I've got a Revolution Brewing Galaxy Hero. Whoa, there's a camera. No, there it is. Clearly, brain is not firing on all cylinders today, and that's bad news because I'm leading. So we're going to see. It's an IPA based out of, again, a local beer here in Chicago. I don't think I've had it, so I'm excited to try it.
I have Taproom 21 Amber Ale with honey.
With honey?
With honey added, yep. The brewmaster's choice.
Are all three of these new to us? Is this an adventurous thing?
I've had tap rooms before, but I don't know if I've had this specific one. I'd have to go on Untapped to look, see if I actually had this one before.
I the same thing. I've had this brewery. I haven't had this specific one.
Cool. Right. Well, hopefully we'll get some unique check-ins today. So today we are doing something a little interesting and very timely based on CreatorCon coming up. So if any of you were on the broadcast yesterday about CreatorCon, we talked a little bit about the Unconference. And one of the things we're doing this year with Unconference is we want to make it easier for people to find information about what sessions are happening. So it's still extremely informal. If you're running one of these things, you just go and there's going to literally be a stack of index cards that you write your session on, but we still want to put it online somewhere. And so what we're going to work on today is actually the process of building that app. That functionality does exist. And, CreatorCon's coming, so I guess we better code it. We better make it happen. So that's what's going to happen today. I'm going to build an app for publishing from the Unconference session info to meetup.com. So at least that's what we think we're
on a scale of easy, medium, advanced. Where would you put this?
We're going to be touching, I think, kind of all three, because we're starting with a simple app. We're going to basically do a vanilla ServiceNow app that's really, everyone's probably built one of these, and then we're going to get into a little bit of API stuff. We're not touching OAuth today. We've done that a lot lately, but no OAuth today. And then the other thing I don't know, I've never actually tried to do this, is I want there to be a public form. So how do we actually get data into a table with a public form, an unauthenticated user? So that's kind of in completely unknown territory for me. So
okay,
that's what we're gonna do. So let me find my share screen button here, and I will probably turn off my video. I have clicked the share screen button. There we go. So while this is all going, how are you guys' CreatorCon sessions going? Mine are getting close.
Swimmingly.
When Chuck, as always, is like the first one done with everything. So
this is the time of year when 100% of my time is going into content creation, demo validation, presentations. It just everything is 100% knowledge in CreatorCon right now. Even lending information to people from presentations I did in the past, saying, "Oh, I've got to do your presentation from last year. Can you walk me through it?" It's really I like this feeling. I really do. This is exciting.
You like the feeling. It is exciting. It's tiring, but it's exciting. So very, very, very much looking forward to actually getting onto the ground in Orlando and seeing everybody. So I'm just going to start from scratch. I'm going to create an application. So if you're watching this later, I guess we should always throw out our standard disclaimer that this is live coding happy hour. It's not pre-scripted. It's not a demo. It's not guaranteed to work. We always like to throw that in there because we're kind of in unknown territory in most of these. So I'm just going to create this app, and I'm going to call it, I guess, Unconference Schedule.
And did you spell that right? Yeah.
Unconference Schedule. Yeah. Yep. I'm going to make this. Yeah. That's something that I sometimes forget to do, and then I kick myself later because you've got this long, unwieldy scope name, and then
table names get worse, and right.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So you got to think about your scope name, especially with your tables, because you don't want the same word in there twice, and so it's interesting.
And hopefully we won't have any calls from the vet today. If we do, I know where the right mute button is.
I'll just see if we can kick you off the Skype altogether. Just
feel free.
Tolerance. So we're gonna need, I think, 2 tables. We're gonna need. You know what? No, I'm gonna start with 1 table. I'm just gonna call this session. So now we've got our scope name, and it's Unconf session.
And which way is the information going, Josh? Is it going from ServiceNow to Meetup, or the other way around? Or are you looking for bidirectional?
Just from ServiceNow to Meetup. And actually, You know what? Before I build this, I'm going to hop over to meetup.com really quick so we can visualize what we're talking about. So this is
what sort of data pieces are we going to need?
Yeah. What's the end state here? So this is the CreatorCon 2017 Meetup group on meetup.com. And I've put some sessions out there. So there are 3 events. There's one sort of standing event for Tuesday, one for Wednesday, one for Thursday. And then I've created this one called Test Event Please Ignore, which we're going to use today for our testing. So if you're out there, please ignore it. And what we want to do, because we can't have one event per Unconference session, I think that would just get really, really messy. We would have so much stuff out here that it just would be unmanageable for people interested in the info. So what I want to do is actually push the information into one of these days. So if the thing is on Tuesday, I want to have something. So here's an example: 10 a.m. all about developer meetups. By the way, that's probably not going to be at 10 a.m. That might change. But I want to push the information into here. So then there's sort of a very consolidated list of here's everything going on for the particular day.
You have one place to go for Tuesday, one place to go for Wednesday. Okay, good model.
Yep, so that's the thought. And then what we have to do on the ServiceNow side is, as these things are scheduled, because obviously this is just a big thing of text, we're going to have to assemble this description and then push it out. So get back to my ServiceNow. No, there we go.
Somewhere you've got API information from Meetup on this stuff?
We'll get to that. Yeah. Okay. And I will. Yeah, I'll get into the API.
Let's build our ServiceNow data model.
I have a magic button, and we click it, and the integration happens. Actually, I wish.
I wish. So, where's that on my webcam?
Right. Title, I guess, is a good thing to call it. So we'll say title. This is going to be a string. This is just, what are we going to call this session?
Here's a shortcut. You don't have to fill in the string field. That's the default.
That's good information. That's actually really good information.
My wife caught me on one of the hack labs that I was writing. She says, this doesn't say string in the type field. I say, you don't have to fill it in. Well, then you should say you don't have to fill it in. I said, you don't have to fill it in. It's a default type. So I put a comment on the thing that says, string is the default type. Don't fill it in.
Nice. We're going to want to put, I guess, a date, time. I guess we'll say time.
Yeah.
And then we'll make this a date time value. Because people are going to have sort of blocks that they can schedule these things in.
Right.
And then we'll have a person. So I guess
are they all going to be the same duration?
Yeah, that's the plan. The plan is to have, I think, 30-minute blocks for these.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they can go shorter. So don't feel like you have to fill out 30 minutes if you're coming to this.
So we need to know who the presenter is, right?
Yeah. So I guess just call it presenter. It's easy enough. And this is going to be a string again, which I am typing out just because it's a habit. But we're not going to have any reference information here because we don't have a table full of attendees of the conference or anything like that.
That'd be nice, but it's cool. Happen.
But yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yep. Pretty much everything has got to be you can't really have any reference fields in here at all, right? Because you're just putting out a simple kind of dumb form that's going to accept this and then splat it back out to Meetup.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
We need a little synopsis, abstract description kind of thing, right?
Actually, we're not going to probably have that. That's all going to be in the title. So these things are okay. There's not enough room for information to get into that level of depth.
Okay.
So we'll just start with this. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this. We're going to make this menu name a little bit more interesting. We'll call this Unconference.
Yeah. Always watch that because sometimes you get the craziest module and menu names.
And then you can always change it later, but that's just a pain. So why
we don't need any auto numbering or anything on this?
No, we shouldn't.
Did you set the title to display true?
I didn't, and that's a good idea. So let me do that.
We may not need it, but it's just one of those things that every table I create now, I look for that.
It's a good practice, yeah, because otherwise you end up with the date, I think, is the default, and that's not very friendly. Or sometimes the sys ID, I guess, is what should.
Yeah, if you're referencing it.
The date or the sys ID, neither of which is helpful at all. So
you don't read hex? I can read hex.
In my spare time I do. I also dabble in Morse code and assembly language. Let's see. There we go. So we've got unconference sessions. We'll just make sure we can create one. All about developer meetups. Okay. And we'll say that this is today just because I don't feel like finding the specific day. So we've got our table. There's not really much to that. That's pretty simple and straightforward. So now what I'm curious about, we'll go in the direction, let's have a vote. We can either immediately start to build the integration piece to meetup.com. Or the other thing we need to do that's interesting is trying to get a public form that we can populate these with. We've done a lot of integrations on Live Coding Happy Hour. I'm happy to do it again. But if there's one thing we finished today, which do you guys think is more interesting?
Let's do the public form. Let's start there.
Okay. So I guess first off, have either of you built a public form? I haven't. So
yes. What do you? My recommendation would be first start with the syspublic table, and put this table on the syspublic and see what happens.
Do you want the whole table out there though? That's the question.
Well, you need it for the form. You need to publish. Go to syspublic.list.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. And if you look in the documentation on public pages, it has more information about this. So here you can see the password reset page is public.
Now, what's interesting though is you'll notice that none of these are tables. Well, I guess there's KB list, except is that even a table?
Try it. Try it.
All right, let's do this. We don't want Instagram.
Instagram? Where were you going?
I don't know. I don't even do Instagram. Social media. So I say as a developer evangelist here. So the this does not appear to be a normal list view.
Sure it does.
Does it?
You've got headers, you got counter, you got right, left, up, down.
It looks like a list.
Yeah, you're just missing so you've got the kind of the filter is internal missing. Frame.
Yeah. So then I guess the question is, so that's KB list. Is there if we create, let's look at KB. Well, what is that actually backing though? Because there's no table called KB.
Is that actually a view?
Might be a UI page with an embedded list.
Maybe there is a table called KB. I don't know. Maybe not. Let's look at UI pages. Because I don't think this is what we think it is. I think it's a... Yeah, see, KB list
it's a UI page. So we may have to construct a UI page with some elements on it. Is what you're thinking?
That's what that's my suspicion. That we're gonna have to do, yeah, this can be fun, right?
Well, actually not. Building a quick UI page with 3 fields on it and a processing script isn't a big deal.
Fair point. That shouldn't be too bad. So let's just go down that route, because I think that's the route we're gonna have to go down anyway. So
you don't want to just throw the
we don't have to
session table
put any
on the
jelly in there, right?
Yeah,
Can we
you would.
just we could just do HTML.
Oh, yeah.
Does it have to be wrapped in jelly?
No, it doesn't have to be wrapped in jelly. I mean, the whole thing effectively is jelly, but we're not doing any processing in the HTML. You're right.
That's an interesting point. Well, so Chuck, I know you're curious about this, so let's try it, because I am now. I am too. I wasn't before, but now I'm curious. So let's go ahead and I'm. Just
How to get Josh to do anything? Make him curious.
I mean, that's pretty much how it works. So we want session list. Do you have to put the .do in there?
I didn't see any .do's.
I didn't see any .do's.
All right. I already forgot.
And I didn't see any .listuses either. So bring up an incognito window or another browser and see if you can go to that URL.
Yep. Let's try it. List.do. Security constraints.
Do we need to put public ACL on the table is my next question. But
let me make sure I actually put that in there correctly.
Okay.
Whoops.
You got the .do.
Do.
Don't do .do.
All right. So it's active true. That looks correct. And I can just do this too.
And you called the table session list, not session. Right?
Well, so session list is the list of sessions. So I can go in here and I'll add one for session as well.
Okay.
So now we've got SN Unconf.
Yeah.
I thought I added another one. Go like that.
Certain stay.
Certain stay. And so now we should have 2.
Well, if your filter's right, yeah.
Now we have 3. Please ignore everything I'm doing. There we go. So we'll go and try hitting that again in our incognito window. Unconf session.do. I think it's going to fail. No, it didn't fail.
We got a blank frame, but we have no fields, which starts to lead me to believe it's an ACL thing, because you don't have read access to those. If we put public on the fields and the table, we can get something.
Yeah, possibly. That might work, because this is a throwaway app, so I should throw that out there. If we get this to work, I don't know if it's necessarily a great idea to do it this way.
No.
So we're gonna put that disclaimer out there. So let's try that.
Public is public.
Right.
Take the risk.
So let's go into this session and let's look at the ACLs.
Oh, you have to elevate your access.
Oh, it's a local instance.
Oh, do you have developer mode on?
Yes, I do. Let's not talk about that.
I stopped doing that.
It's a good idea to stop doing that. So we'll just add public.
Yep.
And then
that was for the, which was that? That was create.
Yeah, that's for create.
Yep.
And then we're going to need the same thing on write, at least.
And read. And you may need table.star on read as well.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, because we won't have access to the individual fields if there's already a .star there.
I better know this stuff. I'm teaching it in a few weeks at pre-con training.
This is all a test, Chuck. This is like
there's one slide I lean on heavily.
All right, so let's go back to the main list now.
You want to do an insert and stay on that read?
Yeah, I just wanted to see if there was a .star there, which there is not. But let's just refresh this first. Okay, so these all came up.
Nice.
Interesting. Okay, so test 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And let's try saving it. I think it's saved.
I think our public piece is done.
So now let's be clear on this. We didn't do anything. That UI page has nothing in it.
Yeah. I didn't even create the UI page.
We don't have a UI page. We're using the native
created a UI
form.
page for session.
No, all I did.
Oh, you didn't create a UI page. You just created an entry in syspublic.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Can you get to the list from a public list?
Let's try that. So
I don't know that you need to, but
list.do. And
hey,
yeah,
looky there.
How interesting. Okay. So we've got our list. We don't have a new button, so I have to look at that.
You probably. Oh yeah, create access would be public. We did put public in create.
I thought we did. Yes.
Yeah, we did. I wonder if there's a UI action condition.
There might be more conditions in the UI action. If you look at all the new buttons that are out there, we're probably satisfying none of them. Well, we are satisfying none of them. Good luck.
Which new button?
Because we didn't. We haven't extended. Yeah, we haven't extended anything. Is there a global new button?
There should be. I would think there's a global one.
Yeah, there we go.
Several. Related list, many to many, normal list, many to many related lists. I'd say normal list. Let's try that middle one, John.
Normal list? Yeah, I think
Johnny. Game show talk.
Oh. I thought you were getting confused.
Dave.
So we've got new glide record current table name can create. That should be okay.
Yeah, list control is omit new button. I don't think we omitted a new button on that one. And it's not a related list.
We could. Well, let's duplicate this. So
make your own for that table.
Yeah. So I'm just going to insert this and stay, and it should. Nope. That's okay.
I've done that before. What happened? Invalid table selected UI. Oh, because scoped you can't use global. That's what it's marking about.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. So I'm just going to insert that.
You can't use global in a scope app. You can use global table in a global app.
All right, so there we've got our button now.
New table.
And let me just, before we do anything else, I'll just refresh. Yeah. That's not there. So I'm just going to get rid of the condition altogether.
Sure.
Because I'm not terribly concerned about it. So there we go.
We don't need no stinking conditions.
Why would we need conditions? Right. So we've got get file from path. What's this doing? So it's adding a bunch of cross scope privileges.
If you had your own new button, then you could also put up a thank you message. So there is some advantage to doing this yourself.
That is true.
Because this is a public page. You just don't want to submit and go to a list or submit and stay on the forum. What do you want to be a little more user friendly in a public page?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So the good news is, I really thought this was going to be the hard part. Now it probably would have been a lot harder had we decided to do the UI page thing. Because
glad I showed up. I can help.
I still think that long term. So if we were to use this app more than once, we'd probably want to do
a little more control. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what the one kind of concern that I have is that so by definition we want this to be out there accessible when you're unauthenticated, right?
Yes.
But like spam bots can hit this, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So at the very least, like something like a CAPTCHA or something to slow down automated hitting of this form, because as you know, with the internet background radiation, leave this out long enough, something will find that there's a submittable form and start submitting to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we'll be shutting this down shortly after knowledge, probably in the months leading up to it, or weeks or days leading up to it. So, okay, well, we've got our page. So I guess at this point, we can start talking integration, because what we want to do is every time we submit one of these, we're going to take a look at the time. I think I want another field just to make this easy. So if we go back to
Studio,
I want to go back to here.
Okay.
And each of these unconference session
there's some kind of ID, doesn't it?
Yep. And so here's the event ID. So I want that.
Ta-da.
Now what I can do though, this is I think what would be interesting.
You could retrieve that from the date, because your event is going to be on Tuesday at 10 a.m., for example. Pull that back and say, what is the event ID for that? It's not something you're going to store on ServiceNow. It seems like something where you're going to retrieve.
Yeah, potentially retrieve. I think in this case, because we're only going to have 3 events to worry about, we'll probably hard code it. So we'll say something like
some sort of lookup that says Tuesday is this ID, Wednesday is that ID.
Exactly. Yep.
Then you don't need a date field. You need a reference field to that table.
Or we don't even do a table.
It's like a script include that says
Yeah, I mean,
a choice list that says here's the date Tuesday, and here's the value is your
and the
event
value
ID.
is the meetups ID.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
The thing that I want to avoid is having the person submitting this having to fill out more fields than they need to. So what we can do is we can have them just fill out the time.
Right. Have a time field.
Yep. And then have a business rule that sets the day.
If we're gonna have a date, so if we're gonna have a 3-value drop down for which day they're picking, let's have a time drop down.
You could do a time drop down. That would fix it so they don't get into 3 a.m. Pick some arbitrary bogus time.
The half-hour intervals for the day. Just let them pick one of those.
You could even make it smart enough that takes out times that are already booked. I love writing the spec and the code at the same time.
That's what we do on Live Coding Happy Hour. That's what it's all about. So you mentioned a time drop down. Are you talking about, is there a control specifically for that, or just doing a time field?
You could either do a time field or a choice list that says 10, 10:30, 11, 11:30, 11.
10 a.m.
I see what you're saying. So not even having this sort of a date format there, or this date field then, breaking it out. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Or a reference field with a reference qualifier that pre-filters it.
Well, here's why I don't even think we want a date time field, because we don't want them putting in, 11:17, right?
And 32 seconds.
Yeah. Well, and this is going to be on a tablet, I think. I think this is going to be on a iPad. So that even makes it more important to simplify the UI elements, because you're not going to be typing.
Yep.
So, okay. Well, I like that. What I think, actually, let's just add those now. So, and I'll get some dummy values. Did you catch all those
requirements?
Actually, you know what? Let me fire up Evernote. I'll write these down while you guys are talking.
All right, cool. So you're doing that. I'm going to start. So we're going to start by doing the day. So day, this is going to be a choice, and then time. And that's really it, right?
There'll be another choice.
Yep, choice. And then we'll get rid of the date field that we created before.
It's just called time.
There it is. Staring right at it.
Contact your DBA for more details.
Mm-hmm. Not. I'm so happy we don't have to do that kind of thing. So there we go. For now, I'm just going to worry about the day. We'll get to the time in a little bit. So I'm going to create some choices.
Yep.
And so we'll say Tuesday.
Yep.
Wednesday. Such a weird day. And Thursday.
You can blame Odin for the name of that.
It's like February.
Right. I don't know if day needs to be a full length field.
I like the day being all the way across. I think that's good usability right there.
So we'll need to also configure, show the choice list so you can set the values on those.
Yes, I need to do that. So I've got day. We'll do show choice list, and now we're going to go to meetup.com.
Go get your IDs.
So here's Tuesday.
That makes sense. That makes the integration a little easier.
Yeah, this makes it much easier. Wednesday, and this only works because we have a
fixed finite.
Yeah, exactly. If we had an arbitrary number of events, we would be doing this very differently. And then Thursday.
Everything is in a controlled box.
Mm-hmm. So there we go. We've got our
and the order IDs. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. Yep. Sequence looks good.
Yep. Let's refresh our incognito window here, and we get our drop downs. So
you want to take none off? You want to take none off of there?
Yeah, that would make sense.
I'm going to do a session, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. That's an unconference
session. It is the very definition of an unconference. It's an unsession. Oh, I need to do that from here.
I do have to drop at the bottom of the hour because I've got another status meeting to catch, but I think we'll be fairly on our way by then.
I think you're right. So we want to get rid of none. Yeah. Now we haven't tried to.
Did you set a default value?
I did not.
You have to set a default value when you say choiceless without none.
Does it reject it? Does it reject the update?
I don't know.
We'll see what it does.
Defaults to whatever's first, I think. No.
Yeah, I think it rejects that if you don't.
So what would that default value be then? Because we don't.
The event ID of Tuesday.
So everything will default to Tuesday.
Yeah, which is fine. Defaults to something.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Honestly, if you really cared about it, you could go through Tuesday night and default it to Wednesday.
Yeah.
I mean, given that we're kind of taking the easy way out on some of this stuff, then somebody just goes in and does that, right?
Make a client script that figures out what day it is and then defaults.
We're very much in that XKCD cartoon of how many times are you going to do a thing versus how much does it save you each time?
Yeah, no, it's very true. Right.
Past the ROI.
So I've got the default value now. We'll throw it in there.
Think.
Get rid of the weird pasted string.
Yep.
And now it defaults to Tuesday.
Yay. I like it. Okay, now we got to make some time blocks.
So I'll worry about time blocks next.
2 or 3 just for fun.
Yeah, I'll just do one. I'll just throw one in there.
You can only book at noon. No, that's my session.
So we'll say, I think we start at 9 a.m. So there we go.
We've
got 2. That's enough to work with. So 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m.
That one you should probably make mandatory then. Not to be persnickety and pedantic. But if it says
important.
none, you'll want to make it.
I'll buy that. That makes sense.
Probably make title and presenter mandatory too.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. So next, we want to make the API calls, and we need to do that by first identifying what is the API. So if we go to here, I did a little bit of research on this, but not a lot. So I know there's an object called event, and the event is going to correspond with the thing with each of those entries. And there's a patch method that lets us edit the event. So the structure of this is api.meetup.com, then the actual URL of the meetup group, and events, and the ID of the group. So this is where we've got the ID from the day, and we'll pass that through.
And that actually is :ID, or is that just a notation they're using?
I think that's just a notation.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just indicating that that's not a value, that's a placeholder. Or not a whatever.
Right. You can think of that like if it was, imagine it was a $sign, right? You would think about it.
Yeah, exactly. So what we should do first is actually I'm going to do this. I'm going to create a system property off screen because I need to be able to interact with this thing with an API key, and you guys don't get to see the API key because it is a real API key. And we don't want that on the internet. So bear with me one moment, and I'll narrate the process. I'm going to create a system property, and we will make it, we'll call it Meetup API key. And let me just find the value really quickly. Also off the screen. And we'll just put that in there.
Your API key is what's going to allow you access to update these events.
Correct. Yeah. So the API key. Now, if depending on the nature of the integration, it's just worth noting for Meetup.com, they do support OAuth flows, and so if you wanted to interact on a more, kind of a user interacting with the system, then you would probably set up an OAuth flow. But because we're doing a system-to-system integration, that's where the API key comes into play. It's basically just a service account. So
now, do you normally put this into a property because you're going to be doing a REST message script?
Yeah, I would still normally put something like that into a property because even with whatever we're doing with REST message, we still want to set it programmatically. We still want to have it somewhere dynamic so that we don't have to worry about it later.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not even going to create a REST message template. We're just going to go full scripted recordless REST because I don't think we need anything else.
It's going commando.
I don't know if I'd put it that way.
That's what we did. That's what we did in Swift API too. We did not bother setting up the REST message. We just created a couple of them right there in the script.
You know the endpoint. You can set your headers. You can set the authentication type. Like, okay, why do I need a REST message to hold this stuff for me?
I don't know that I had spent a lot of time thinking through exactly where the breaking point for that is. You know, like where the line is. I assume as something that you're going to use a lot. You know, you're going to want to create the actual REST message record, but like a thing you're calling once in one script, maybe not.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, I'm going to get convention on you. You said var API key in the initialize. Why would you do that instead of like this API key?
Just because I have not had enough sleep this week. So,
okay. I thought maybe you had some trick up your sleeve.
No, I mean I do. It's called get you to call it out and then I fix it. So
6 eyes are better than 2.
Yes, indeed they are. So we've got our API key. And we want to update the event. The endpoint that we're going to want, I'm just going to do this as well. This .endpoint equals api.meetup.com. And we'll say that
it's not an SSL URL. It's a HTTP URL.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
So this .endpoint plus, and then we want the actual operation.
Something update event or event.
Yeah, so URL name, events, ID. So let me just copy and paste that over here.
Good practice right there. Keep your reference material close.
Yeah, comments are helpful for that. Just clean them up later. So we want this thing, the URL name.
Yeah.
Meetup URL. So now
glue it all together.
Yep, endpoint plus, just to make this easier, I'm going to add a trailing slash. Meetup URL plus events plus ID.
Some idea that we're going to incarnate an ID from somewhere.
Yeah, so we're just going to, I guess, pass in the ID here. And then the only thing we really want to change right now is the description. So I'm just going to make this something where we can just pass in those 2 values. So we'll pass in the ID and whatever description we've generated.
You don't want to know who the presenter is?
No, because that will be in the description. And
okay. You're going. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And part of the reason for that is because we're going to have to take account of every previous scheduled event every time we build the description.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
We're just going to walk. We're just going to walk that tree. Walk that list.
Yeah.
This isn't the description constructor. It's the description updater.
Yeah. This is the thing that will actually touch meetup.com. So I want to get this thing working, and then we'll do the middle piece to build that out.
And that's a trap I fall into a lot, is I try to make my first function do everything, and they go, probably not the best idea.
Yeah, it can be problematic. So we've got REST message.
That's one of the few things I don't actually struggle with. I almost always try to do the smallest possible piece. That's why I usually try to get the dumbest, most trivial piece working first. I learned this a long time ago when I first started doing continuous integration is a thing now, but in the early 2000s, it was a fairly new idea. And part of the idea was that you, as opposed to building your whole system, then trying, typically the weekend before it goes live, you try to hook everything together and nothing works right. But when you've got the dumbest possible implementation and you run into a problem, it's not your logic because you don't have any logic, right?
It's also easy to unit test those things and go, I know for certain this little piece of thing does exactly what this little piece of thing should do.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So here's a question.
Set endpoint?
Well, yeah, so we're going to need to set the endpoint. I'll do that now.
I'm so glad for the code completion thing here, because almost inevitably I say set endpoint with a capital P.
Oh,
burned by it.
Yeah, or user name with a capital N. So here's the question that I don't know. We need to send this to the API as a URL encoded body.
Oh.
If we sending query parameters, I don't think is going to do it.
No, I think you're going to want to build out.
I'm going to have to build the body out.
URL encoded string.
Yeah.
The pairs, URL encode them, and then set request body with that. So this is
similar to what we did with SIFT.
It is exactly the same thing we had to do with SIFT. Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. You're
going to want to do name equal and, and then pass that all in there.
Yeah, and the good news is I think we only have to set the description. So description equals.
Although I think what you probably want to URL encode just the description.
So do you want to URL encode the whole thing? So basically, I've got description equals. Right. So I'll then just pass in the description here.
Yeah, I think that's exactly.
Got it. Okay, I think that'll work. So set request body.
Need any headers?
Shouldn't need any headers. I do need one URL parameter though, so let me do that. I need to rm.set query parameter key this.api key.
Didn't you also need? Oh, you got the event ID on the URL. Yep, gotcha.
Yep, event ID's on the URL, so we're good there.
This is really the tricky part, is figuring out where to plug these things in.
Yeah. So this is where, I mean, this does kind of show where the templates can be nice because it helps you with some of this, although it would not have helped us with a request body issue. So, all right, so we've got a response.
And frankly, if we hadn't already stumbled over this in Swift API,
we'd be struggling.
We would probably, like you said, like Josh, you were talking before we started that like your first inclination was to stick JSON in there, which is exactly what we did with Sift, right? And then we're surprised when that's not what it takes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's always interesting when you run into these idiosyncrasies. And the meetup.com API docs aren't great. They don't quite satisfy my criteria for quality API docs. But
well, I think I'm going to posit, I don't know this, but I'm going to posit a hypothesis that these APIs that take these URL encoded strings in the body probably are just older.
Probably
right?
true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I would buy that. So, all right, so we've got a basic client, and I think what I want to do now is I just want to try this from a background script.
They may have also discovered something that necessitated the encoding part. You know, if we don't encode it, this could happen. You know, some risk.
Could be. I mean, it is a little weird though that so in this case it's the entire body. So instead of saying, "Hey, we're going to do an application JSON, an actual JSON body with these values," but yeah, there could have been some weird encoding consideration. So we're going to create a new Meetup client, and we're going to say rm.update event.
M. Is that RM or M?
Oh, yeah, it is RM. I'm just auto typing that. I'm so accustomed to typing that for REST messages.
I hear you.
There's one of the events. So what I want to do is I want to find the don't touch this one. Test event, please ignore. You know, that's what I should have done when I was creating those choices. Is I should have created a dummy for the test event, please ignore. We'll get to that. So we're
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Josh.
And I actually just went and subscribed to that, so
you'll get a notification.
I should get Meetup should tell me if it changes, right?
And
whoa!
I see a response body. Does that look right to you?
That looks like response JSON, doesn't it?
All right, let's refresh.
That was almost too easy.
No, it says needs a description still.
Oh,
so it didn't like something about our body.
Let's go back and do you still have that up? Can you switch back to the background script?
Yep.
Can you cut that and beautify it, just so we can read what
the JSON?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me pull up a new window here.
Because it sure did look like it's giving you various success messages while not succeeding.
Test event, please ignore.
That's one of the other fun things about the Meetup API is that it has a tendency to tell you that things were successful and not tell you what it didn't like.
Nice.
So that's always great. Let's just format it as JSON. Can I do this? Indent line? No. I don't know. Format document. There we go.
Hey.
I like VS Code a lot. So we've got test event upcoming. It says updated.
There's no error message. There's no response code. Dang.
You know what we need to do? I think I know what's going on. I did not set the content type. So
I asked you if you needed a header.
URL encoded.
You did ask me that, Chuck, and I didn't think we did. So you told me so.
Jay says, careful when viewing the response. The key is in the body.
Oh, no.
Your API key may have been exposed.
Is the key really in the body? I mean, it's out there now.
I don't think it is.
I didn't see it.
I think that was the ID of the transaction.
Yeah, it's not. We're safe.
Okay. Yeah, that would seem like it'd be a bit of a
Did you move it off the
security
screen
loophole.
and we're looking at it? Is that the GPS coordinate of the Orlando Conference Center?
It is. Yeah, it's got the
Okay,
latitude
cool.
and longitude. And
Yeah, that sounds about right. 2881.
You just know that off the top of your head, Chuck?
Well, roughly. I know general north, south, east, west in the U.S. anyway.
Fair enough. So what I'm looking for here, almost have it. I just need to get I don't have application x-www-form-url encoded memorized, so I had to look that up really quick. So we're going to go and put that in. Where did I'm getting too many windows now.
I think you closed Studio, or you got too many.
I've lost Studio. I must have closed Studio. How did I do that?
Happens to me all the time when you got multiple Studio tabs open and your brain says,
I know.
Command W. Boom. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's because I pulled that. Because I freaked out about the API key thing. So thankfully it's a false alarm. I hope. We'll check that later. So yeah, we need this application xwww form URL encoded.
Okay.
And I didn't notice that it was using patch. It doesn't use put, it uses patch.
It does use
that's
patch.
an interesting. That is interesting.
Yep. So let's run it again.
Which is what patch is supposed to be for.
Yeah. Did it? It's going to be easier. Just go back to meetup.com and refresh. This is a test from the background script. It worked. All right. Take a drink.
Sweet. I'm already out.
Damn, Chuck.
You're the earliest one of the three of us.
Earliest in the day, earliest done with your beer. So the next thing, man, I wasn't prepared for that to work so soon.
Come on,
so
I got another meeting.
Yeah. So what we want to do now is actually
build that description.
Yeah, let's build the description. So I'm gonna. Where do I want to put this? I'm gonna start by just throwing it into a business rule, and then I'll factor that out at some point.
I love it when the experience of a previous live coding happy hour feeds nicely into another one.
I know. We're gonna hit a point where we have nothing left to do. No, we'll
right.
We've covered everything. No. So we're going to put this on session and build description. And we'll run this on insert and update. Although there really shouldn't be any updates. There could be deletes. You know what? Let me add that to delete as well.
True. Because if somebody takes an event out, just in case, even though we don't allow the public to delete.
Right. If you delete it, you still want to update the description.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this is our description constructor.
Yep, this will construct the description, and for now, this is going to have to run async now that I think about it, because we're going to call the script include that calls meetup.com, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I just want to build the description first.
So what's your criteria for records you're looking for? Everything on the same day as what just got
everything
updated?
on the same day that's not me, basically. Actually, you know what? To make it easy, everything including me, because we're just going to
you do want to include
you just want to loop through the entire thing.
And we're going to say current because I'm lazy.
No, I love that. That's awesome. I got to remember that more often. I always forget.
And I'm also really bad about this, so I'm going to say GR sessions.
Yep.
Or I guess I'll just say session.
I'm starting to make that more of a practice too. Call it anything but GR. Even though it's in its own function, it should be privately scoped. Weird things happen.
So everything where the day is the current day.
Yep.
We'll go on query it.
You want to order it by time?
Oh, that's a good idea.
The problem being
they're strings.
Yes, and that we don't. If we sort it lexically, we don't actually want that, right?
Well, unless you go 0930.
Yeah,
you'd have to go 0930, 1000.
But we can control that. So as long as we
Yes.
go back and add the zeros, so I'll add those 0 prefixes.
Okay.
And
All right.
yeah.
So do an order by.
Yep.
If
So
our whole design thing is to just do the simplest thing, then I'm perfectly fine with just sticking zeros in. Sort it lexically, zeros, done.
Yeah.
Do you want to switch lines 5 and 6 around?
5 and 6.
I think that would
Probably.
definitely help.
I think so. I don't know. Never know what could happen. Yeah, I do know. I don't know. All right.
Oh, sometimes things happen in weird orders. I see UI actions that have action.set redirect like near the top and go, oh, that's right.
Yeah, you're just popping it onto a stack, but it feels
Right.
weird when I see that.
So now what we can do is we can say, let's see. We'll just say session equals that. We'll use that to make it easier to build. So session equals gr session dot get value
Yep.
day.
No.
Well, do we want day?
Description.
No, we want time.
Title, name, whatever it was. Oh, yeah,
Well, we want-
yeah.
yeah,
You want
time
to
at the
put
beginning.
the time in there. You're right.
Yep.
You're right.
Yep. So we'll do that. And then, just to make this stand out,
Bold,
can-
big, H1. Can you
can
put
add
HTML in there?
Yeah. So Meetup lets you add some very simple, I think they restrict you to 3 tags, B, I, and A.
Can you put a BR tag in there or a
We
PK
can't,
or something?
but we can put line breaks in, and line breaks
Okay.
will work. So we've got that. Now we want session plus equals something like that, or maybe we want a hyphen plus the
Oh, I see what you're doing.
session
I
dot get
see what you're doing.
value title, and then finally we'll do, and we'll just see what this looks like. We can format it better later.
Go ahead and you want to go ahead and stick a /n
Somewhere near the end, near the top. I don't know.
I just want to see that thing in action, actually.
Okay.
No, actually, do you want the literal /n going to Meetup, or do you want a new line? Because what you got there,
Yeah, that's a
at
good point.
Quotes, you have the literal \n. Do you want a new line character, or do you want the new line indicator?
You want a new line character. So the question is, so /n is a new line character here.
Yeah, use double quotes.
Use double quote. That will actually make a difference.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it does.
In JavaScript?
That's like a
Okay.
Python thing.
We may
We'll
learn
find
something
out.
here today. I would have gone with the double backslash, but okay.
It may actually also have to be double backslashed in that. I think there's a certain amount of, that's the difference between single and double quotes, is there's a certain amount of interpolation of characters that happens. Now I could be telling you the wrong thing, but there's some that is the the difference between using them. I think there's a passive like variable substitution and things that happen in double quotes that don't happen in single quotes.
I completely buy that for like, well, we'll find out. I'm very curious about that. I don't know. So here's the question. Oh, I need to do this. I mean, this is ugly, but it's easy. I just want to spit this out. I want to see what it looks like.
Yep.
Now you've got me really wondering. I'm very, very...
Make a record. Change your record. Do something.
So we'll save that.
So
9 a.m. test 1.
Okay. Didn't
SDF.
reflect in that info message, but that's okay.
Yeah, and it may not. I mean, it may not.
Right.
The other thing is
say.
let's do this. Let me add a second one because I want to make sure that it's actually bringing them all in.
Insert.
So ASDF2, insert and stay. Yep, see, it's bringing them both in.
Good. We're
So
getting the
that's good.
records.
We're getting there. Now we
They're
need to
not
send it to Meetup.
necessarily in any crazy order. Make a different time. We want to see them in order. You should be able to just update that one. Save.
Yeah.
There we
And
go.
If I were to do that, it should reverse them. It didn't.
No, because they're at the same time at that point.
Yeah, you're right. So now we'll go. Let me grab my code from the background script. Wherever that went. There we go. And we will copy this. And we'll add it to the business rule.
Ooh.
So we've got our client. We're going to update the event.
Description.
The event is going to
get value.
remain. I'm just going to keep that hard coded for now.
Oh, because is that your junk event? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. As the final thing, we'll maybe update it. Now, my bet here is that this is going to fail because
it's
we're doing. Yeah, it's an after rule, and for anybody wondering, what's happening is because this is a scoped app, you're not supposed to do synchronous web service operations in anything except for an async business rule. So I'm just going to verify that that's true. So we'll insert and stay. And yeah, we can't do. So let's fix it.
Police got you.
All right, time check. We got 5 minutes to the bottom of the hour.
All right,
we're almost done.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get there.
I think this is just about exactly at a great stopping point. So
I agree.
And this actually, I'll be honest, we made a little more headway than I thought was going to happen. So
yeah, me too. I really didn't think we were going to have as much success as we had today. I thought we were going to be fighting with some things.
Teamwork.
Teamwork. Yeah. I just need to find the event. Test event. Please ignore. Oh, look at that.
Not too shabby. We need a new line before the time, but look, it's bold. They're on the right lines.
So let's try this. Let's test your theory, Dave. And because I got to fix the formatting for these.
Sure. Go in and make them single quotes to see what happens.
Yep. So I'm going to put this before that, and then we'll make those single quotes. Now it's helpful.
Darn autocomplete.
There we go.
And you want well, never mind. You want to put one of those in front and behind the bar so that you
yes.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But it did appear to work.
Oh, it actually treated it the same. Okay, so I might be.
I know what you're talking about, and I think it's just another language because there's one that I know I've worked with before that's exactly like that. I feel like it's Perl or PHP or something. All right, let's do one more test. Make that 6. Save. Refresh, and there we go.
It's a beautiful thing.
Oh man. So
I'm going to check my email right quick. It might also be, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to get an email for like every single
you won't right now. So yeah, this is right now this is an unannounced meetup. So it's kind of an update. Yeah. And that's something else that I'll probably investigate.
Yeah. Okay.
So let me go ahead and stop sharing. And man, we're going to wrap up on time. We actually
nice work
to accomplish today. Thank you for the help. This was fun. So stop sharing.
Move the ball down the field quite a bit.
And the good news is I mean, this is something that I legitimately really needed to do. And I haven't had the time to do it.
And so let's bang the ServiceNow drum, right? We started this thing. We disclaimed we didn't know how much of this was actually going to work, from the most naive thing possible. We went ahead and just did the most naive thing possible at every point. And in 1 hour, including talking about our beer and our day, we got like minimum viable product actually working and wiggling.
Yep.
With an integration. Yeah, I'm so happy about that. So
that goes to the strength of our platform and our product here.
Absolutely.
Right. Time to rate the beers.
Yes. So my Galaxy Hero,
Josh,
solid 4. It's delicious. I really like it.
My Sweetwater hash session IPA, I'm going to give it a 4. And you guys know I'm not super IPA guy, but I like this.
Good stuff.
I was going to go with a 4, but just so we don't all end up with 4s, it sound like we're copying each other. I really liked this. It was very smooth. The tap room number 21 Amber Ale with honey added. I'm giving it a 4 1/4.
There you go.
Ah, nice. Just bumped it over the edge.
I could do a couple more of those.
Good stuff.
5 o'clock somewhere, check. I think in Newfoundland.
It's like a rolling 5 o'clock. Good stuff.
Rolling into my next meeting is what I got to do.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a good weekend. Thanks.
Have a good weekend. See y'all. Thanks for joining.
Questions in the chat. Thank you.
See ya, CreatorCon.